A block off Bourbon Street in New Orleans is Royal Street, since the 1830s home to pricey galleries and antique shops. This elegant gallery belongs to a man named Dave Dixon, known as one of Louisiana's most prominent citizens, an intimate of governors for decades. Dixon is locally revered as the father of the Louisiana Superdome. And for decades, this man, Dave Dixon, was also the CIA handler of the person known as the most successful drug smuggler in American history, Barry Seal. And at the trial of Clay Shaw, the only man ever charged in the murder of our president, Dave Dixon was a character witness for the accused. But the truly saddest part of this whole scandal is the way our free press has looked the other way. They called Seal's killing a gangland-style murder, but Barry Seal was not murdered by the Medellin cartel. The cover story that Jorge Ochoa, head of the cartel, caused Seal to be murdered in a contract killing is as much a big lie as anything ever churned out of Nazi propaganda mills during World War II. Incredibly, we discovered that on the night Barry Seal was slain, 3 other top lieutenants of the Medellin cartel were also murdered.
Our lead story, Metro News has uncovered some new information in the investigation into the assassination of Barry Seal. Reporter Dana Kay has the story.
Metro News has learned that there were a total of 4 drug-related killings the same day Barry Seal was gunned down here in Baton Rouge. And all of them seem to have been connected to the same drug ring operated out of Colombia. Metro News reported last night that a Colombian named Pablo Carrera was shot and killed in Colombia the same night Barry Seal was gunned down in Baton Rouge by a professional hit squad. Carrera was identified as the number 2 man in the Colombian drug organization headed by Jorge Ochoa. Metro News has now learned that 2 other Ochoa associates were shot to death at the same time. Another Colombian, Pablo Achilla, was executed in Colombia, and the 4th Ochoa associate to die was a woman identified only as Barbara. She was killed in Miami.
Who killed Seal? Just 10 days before he died, in a typical display of the fearlessness for which he was justly famous, he threatened to expose the gun running and drug smuggling that flourished in Mena, Arkansas. The man he threatened, then Vice President George Bush. All 3 of the guys on trial, Richard Sharpstein, the Miami attorney for one of the Colombians convicted, told us, all told their attorneys that once they reached the U.S., their actions were directed by a military officer, whom they very quickly figured out to be Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North. Barry Seal died for a simple reason, a reason which redeems him somewhat in our eyes. He was getting ready to talk. There's more, much more, to this story than we have time for here. It's in our book, Barry and the Boys. And a full airing of the Mena drug scandal can be found in our 2-hour special, The Secret Heartbeat of America. You can receive either or both by priority mail by calling the phone number shown at the end of this show. But we want to close with something we heard from someone who was just a small child when JFK was murdered, his son John. At a press conference announcing George magazine, he was asked if he would use his new publication to probe his father's assassination. No, he said, too much time has passed for anything effective to be done. Time, he said, is the great enemy of the truth. Meaning that by the time the public had figured out that John Kennedy was murdered by people who shot their way into power, just like Hitler's Nazis did, it was too late to do anything about it. Time is the great enemy of the truth. By the time we figure out that they've been lying to us about who controls the drug trade, they'll all be rich beyond measure.